Let's make a quick synthesis to talk about the process of design thinking, doing an overview, explaining the 5 important stages with examples of companies that perform this approach, and finally, highlighting the advantages and disadvantages for the businesses. What is design thinking? Design thinking is an iterative process whose purpose is to solve problems with a consumer-first approach. It's based on understanding the customer to challenge assumptions and redefine problems in order to develop strategies and solutions. This approach is based on defining solutions to solve problems. This process revolves around understanding the human being in order to develop products and services that fit their needs. Therefore, design thinking is based on empathically observing the interaction of people with the environment to question the problem as well as the assumptions and implications. We identify 5 phases in this process: emphasize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. Let's start with empathize. It's a key point. You need to know the consumers and engage with them to understand their needs, preferences, and objectives. In this phase, you observe consumers to find out how a product or issue affects them. In this way, it's easier to understand the human need and therefore to design the product. Phase 2. Define. The second phase is based on defining the problem. Through the conclusions drawn from the empathy phase, we define the problem we are trying to solve. What difficulties do consumers encounter and how does the problem affect them? Once the conclusions have been synthesized, the problem can then be defined. Phase 3. Ideate. Once you have acquired the knowledge about the consumers and identified the main problem, it's time to start determining possible solutions. This third phase is all about creativity, brainstorming with the purpose of solving the identified problem. Phase 4. Prototype. The fourth step in this process is to transform or convert these ideas into material products or real solutions. A prototype doesn't have to be perfect. It's a reduced vision of the product that incorporates possible solutions. Prototypes are used to analyze consumer acceptance, and therefore solutions can be improved, rejected, or redesigned based on user behavior. Once the prototype is delivered, it's necessary to analyze how users interact with it. Therefore, when the fifth stage has been completed, testing might show that another prototype needs to be developed, or perhaps the consumer needs have been poorly defined, and therefore it will be necessary to go back to an earlier stage. So, is design thinking a linear process? Although it's possible to see a very logical sequence with an established order, the design thinking process is not a linear process. It's flexible and twists and turns. With each discovery that can be determined in each phase, it will be necessary to rethink and redefine what has been done previously, and therefore you will never move in a straight line. Why does it help to launch a successful product on the market? Let's talk about it with these 3 companies.
Created using Powtoon.